on the line.
Yeah, it'd be a great opportunity to go back to a place where I spent 3 years to play a really good football team. A lot of great memories there, and it's another one of those opportunities that happened, in 22 and 23. If the we go in there and beat them, and all of a sudden somebody else, Houston ends up winning, they win the division, things like that. It's an opportunity to go out there and do something like that against a division opponent.
Mike, with Cam having started every game this year and poised to start a 17th on Sunday, for a rookie, what kind of just the snaps, the experience, how much can that maybe help as he goes into this offseason trying to grow and build on what he's done this year?
Yeah, I think the entire season is really going to help him for his future, and that's one thing is the experience and playing the different schemes and improving as the year went on. He's really gonna, I know from talking to him week after week, the library, the notes that you kind of build playing against certain teams, whether it's the coordinators, certain players, certain matchups with your receivers, how they play against certain guys. You have that experience through a 17-game season that it's only going to make it easier for him moving forward. So I think he's done a great job week after week of learning, understanding what we're trying to get done. So he's got a really bright future.
Hey, Mike, two from me, please. How concerning that the ball security issue resurfaces. He seemed particularly on the strip sack, fumble, touchdown to kind of float into a problem area where he had kind of a pocket that he could have stayed in.
Yeah, that's going to be a great snap to learn from, especially with the pass rushers in this league of understanding of when you step up and when you go backwards of understanding what your issues are going to be. And there's a very talented pass rusher coming off the edge, and Chase coming there. Made an outstanding play there, but you got to understand that if you do that, you got to make sure that ball is secure and put away. Otherwise things like that have an opportunity to possibly pop up and happen.
Also wanted to ask about Micah's failure to down that ball. Seemed like a relatively simple play where he had his feet and everything he needed. What did he fail to do there, and how big was the yardage he gave up?
Well, yeah, that's a play you'd love to make, down that ball down there on the one. As he's going into the end zone, he tries to toss that ball back, and unfortunately, we were not able to secure the ball as he tossed it backwards. So that changed. You'd love to have that ball on the 1 yard line, put our defense out there.
Hey, Mike, as you got to go back and watch the game, Cam, his first half, he was humming along 11-15, but then the second half, things changed a bit. I know there could be a lot of factors, but from your perspective, what was it that changed in the second half that kind of made it a little more rocky for him?
Well, I think overall, when you look at it, the entire second half, we didn't make enough plays in any phase, really, to slow them down, or offensively, not getting touchdowns at certain times. And you have opportunities to make plays, and there's certain times whether it's a protection issue there, on a couple plays where he's moving around. There's a number of plays, not a number, but a couple plays that were covered, and there's an opportunity or two to possibly check the ball down the back to get the ball out of your hand.
And then also,
Go ahead, T.
I'm sorry. Also, with the run game, it seemed like the carries kind of decreased a bit in the second half. What was behind that? Was that just trying to get Cam going in the passing game, or what?
No, you call the game. Bo calls the game accordingly on how it goes, the flow of the game, and what you think is best at the time, and that's how we called it.
Mike, after the game yesterday, Cam said something along the lines of one of the best things about this team is that the players know change is coming soon. I'm curious how you've balanced the optimism of that, the knowledge that the players have that change is coming with the present. Like, what are the tricks to keeping players engaged while also not deflating that knowledge that they're building to something more?
Well, everyone understands, everybody's got a job to do. And you only get so many opportunities to play games week in and week out in the NFL. And you've got to make the most of every one of them, regardless of what your record is, regardless of where it is in the season. And that's been a message from day one, is every game is a gem out there, and you're going out there to play and to play your best football as a football team. And I think when you have the type of players we have here and what it means to play the game and the leaders that we have here and the great examples that they show week in and week out, whether it's in the meeting rooms, the preparations, how you take care of your body all year long, the way they practice, the way they go out there and play on Sundays, it's easy for all the younger guys to see. And, as a coaching staff of always trying to help these players get better week in and week out, regardless of, where it is in the season. And you're trying to play your best football and help these guys get better as a team and as individually as players.
Do you talk about, or do you hear players talk about the change that's coming?
No, we are focused on the opponent week in and week out. Like this week, we are focused on Jacksonville, going to Jacksonville, playing our best game of the year, trying to find a way to win and beat a division opponent.
Hey, Mike, I had a couple Cam questions for you. One, I wonder if you spoke to him about the very last play of the game, sort of the Hail Mary attempt. In your mind, was there enough time to kind of get off a desperation heave there, despite the pressure? And does it have to be more of an effort to do so instead of perhaps, waiting for a receiver to somehow break open in that kind of situation, which is pretty unlikely?
Yeah, anytime you're in a Hail Mary situation at the end of the game, we got to find a way to get that ball out, whether it's stepping up in the pocket, letting that ball go, whatever you've got to do. We've got to find an opportunity to give ourselves a chance to go up and get that ball.
Yep. And then on the second question, I think it was the second series of the second half for you guys. A couple plays that Cam made. One, the throw to David Martin Robinson, then a few plays later to Ellick. Both of those, he was moving around the pocket, kind of being creative, but patient at the same time. I wonder if in your mind that kind of represents the best of what he can do in terms of creativity and adding time to let receivers get open.
There were a number of plays in the game, and you mentioned two of them. There's some other plays also that is the wow factor with Cam. Some of those plays where I'm on the sideline and thinking throw the ball away or do something different, and he keeps going, moving around out there, buying time on the sideline to the very last second, making those throws. That's what the great players do. And you've seen that a number of times this year and more recently with the plays that he's making. And that's what energizes our fans, energizes our team. It's great. You see players, once they know that he's out of the pocket now, you see us doing a better job of scrambling. You always talk about what are our scramble rules. You have scramble drills you do during the offseason program and training camp to kind of talk about things. But the game's completely different because everyone's always in different spots, and it's not scripted a certain way. And you just see guys reacting, and you see Cam, moving his finger or pointing one direction or the other. And so it's just great to see the guys making the plays.
Mike, following up on some of that, he obviously has the things that they say you can't coach in terms of, being able to make something out of nothing. But what's the fine line that you try to keep him from crossing so that he doesn't end up making plays like the strip sack that was returned for a touchdown? How do you balance not taking the creativity away from him, but not him to put the ball or his team in a bad spot?
Well, I think that's one thing that he's learned over time. I mean, you never want to take the competitor out of the player, and you want Cam to be Cam and go out there and, make the plays because then all of a sudden you say, hey, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this, and all of a sudden he's trapped inside and he's not, making the plays. And it's like you got to let players go out and play. That's what they're going to do. And, he has the ball in his hands every play. So we trust him to make the right decisions. And you learn, unfortunately, we had the sack, fumble, touchdown. And that's one of those plays, like I said earlier, that's one of those plays you have to learn that this is a great one to learn from. Put it in your notes here. If you do this against a great pass rushing team, this is what you got to be alert to. And this is the bad thing that can happen. So you learn from it, you move on. But I think he's done he's getting better with the ball security part of it.
And then when you talk about, when you go back and you watch the film of these off-schedule plays and things like that, where do you point out the teaching moments in terms of, maybe this could have worked better or maybe that could have worked better?
Well, I think when you look at a game tape every week, there's always going to be X number of plays that you look at and say, yeah, this is a great play. This is a great ad-lib play, but also you could have just thrown the ball to the flat and not worry about it. And you don't hold the ball too long when something negative could happen. But if you just, check the ball down to the flat earlier. So those are always the learning points you make in a game. But like I said earlier, there's certain things. It's easy for us to hold a remote in our hand after a game or on a sideline, look at a picture and say certain things. But it's a fast game out there, and Cam's got to make some quick decisions on things, and we're trusting him to make the best decision possible on every play. And he's going to learn from some mistakes because he's going to make a couple mistakes. Every quarterback does every game. But you want them to go out there and be aggressive and allow him to make those plays that he made yesterday.
Jim, and then TD.
And Mike, I know you're concentrating on trying to win a football game, putting a game plan together, but the final week of the season, what kind of goes through your mind on the opportunity you've had to coach this team this season and knowing that it's, that this one's ending on Sunday?
Our number one focus is to play our best game of the year, go to Jacksonville, have a great game, have a great week of preparation like they've done all year long. So that shouldn't change with our players, the way we've prepared for games week in and week out. We've got to go finish. You talk about finish all the time. Let's finish this season the right way.
And I guess for you personally, how much have you enjoyed this?
I've had the time of my life. I love doing what I do. I'm very grateful for the opportunity that Amy, Mike, and Chad gave me, going back to the New England week to lead their organization. I love leading, and it's an honor and privilege to do what I've been doing since then.
Last one, TD.
You mentioned that play where Cam could have made it easier and dumped it off. When you're coaching a quarterback like that you have that upside, as you mentioned, of making the plays the way he does. How do you balance that where you want him to take the play that's there, but you also don't want to take away the ability to create a tremendous play like he's had on some of the other off-schedule things?
Well, it's like I mentioned earlier. It's easy to say, after the game, or when he comes to the sideline, hey, the flat's wide open, throw the flat. You don't always see that, and when I say that is there's a defensive line, there's pressures, there's all these things, there's the offensive line, there's a bunch of bodies in front of you, so you may not always see that player. And I'm not saying just flat routes. There's a number of plays or different guys you don't see during a game. And then so you move on your progression. But I think one thing, and we've talked with you guys a number of times about it, is, him getting the ball out of his hands quicker. And I think that's one thing he's learned throughout the year is the importance of getting the ball out of your hand and playing in second short to medium or third and short to medium instead of waiting for that big play sometimes and just getting the ball out of your hand, taking completions. And I think that's one of the reasons why, we've been scoring the points the way we have the past couple of weeks is him being, making good decisions, getting the ball out of his hands and staying ahead and down in distance. And it helps the third down in a game.
But as far as like the dialogue is concerned, is it as simple as, hey, listen, I know you can make a play and I know you're looking for the big play, but you got to look for this. And I understand you might miss it, but you got to look for this, this, and this at times as well. Like how does that dialogue go?
Oh, that's simple. I mean, a quarterback comes to the sideline, you sit down with them. I'm a big believer of, talking through every play with them and listening to what they see. I mean, it's easy. Like I said, it's easy for us to sit back there on a sideline and watch it. And, right. we're not behind that line. And, there's things you got to move in pocket movement. There's pressure. There's a free runner coming at you. Yeah, it's easy, for the fans, for you guys, for myself on the sideline to say, hey, this guy's wide open, but it's not always that clean and that clear to a quarterback. So, that's the one thing that's what you love about coaching is on the sideline, the players come to the sideline, every position really. You talk through the plays, the series that just happened, what happened, why did it happen, There's certain plays the run game, an offense lineman gets tripped up. Doesn't mean it's a bad play. It's just you talk to him. The guy, he's like, yeah, I tripped pulling around the center. So you move on and you communicate. And it's the same thing with every position, not just the quarterbacks. That's everybody.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Thanks for your time, Coach. Appreciate
All right,
it.
thank you very much. Have a great day.
Jim, thanks for your time. We'll get started here with Corey.
Hey, Jim, I just want to ask you about the all-time all-purpose yards record. I mean, when you consider, Deion Sanders, Devin Hester, Dante Hall, you've done more than all of those guys in one season yardage-wise. When you put it in that perspective, what does it mean to you?
Yeah, it's a blessing. I mean, we still got one more week. Obviously, focus on the Jags this week, but I'm just thankful for my teammates and coach that put so much work in besides me to make that possible.
Hey, Jim, we just got off with Coach McCoy. A lot of it was just about Cam and him kind of keeping plays alive with his legs. As a receiver, what's that do to your responsibility on the play, and how much better do you feel like you know him and what he's thinking compared to the start of the year?
Yeah, I mean, I think that we've seen growth throughout every single week. One thing about Cam is the play's never dead, so just continue to work. While he's working, stay alive because he'll make plays happen.
Do you find yourself? I know they monitor everything. Do you know how much you ran yesterday?
I don't know, but it's what I do. I gotta run, so.
Yeah.
Hey, Jim, I think Jim pretty much nailed my question there. But I guess just sort of to follow on that, how does that process work of becoming a little bit more attuned to what Cam will do, under pressure, and how you will respond? Is that something that you guys talk about, or is that just something that you kind of get used to with repetition during the season?
I think it's kind of two-part, having those conversations, being in the film room with him, me and extra with him, just see what he's thinking, and then also just getting those reps in live action. You can't, replicate or duplicate reps, so just having that experience and continue to see how he sees things.
Jim, what's kind of the next step you want to take as you progress, not only as a returner but as a receiver beyond this year?
Yeah, I mean, we still got one more week, so I'm just focused on Jacksonville this week. I'm gonna kind of reevaluate after the season. There's a lot of things I got to improve as a player, but those will come.
Jim,
how's the body? I guess this is game number 20 for you on Sunday. How your body feel right now heading into the finale, and what'd you do to kind of prepare for it? What you do maybe in the off season to prepare for another grind?
Yeah, it feels good. I think that it's week 18, so everybody's a little banged up, but our training staff has done a great job of working with me and the rest of my teammates to make sure we're ready to go. Coach McCoy does a great job of trying to manage us and make sure we're not doing too much throughout the week, but also getting enough that we're prepared for the game. So throughout the offseason it'll be good to get to that when I do and work out, but I'm trying to be my best on Sunday.
Tim, I'm curious, when was the time when you first started returning kicks, returning punts? How far back in your football history does that go? And if you could remember, what was it like, and why did you want to do that initially?
I mean, I think I probably did it in like middle school, but high school is when they really started actually kicking the ball far enough that you could return it really. Um, I just think that any way I can help my team, move the ball. Field position is obviously a huge part of the game, and I love having the ball in my hands. So that's probably why I started doing it in high school.
And then that ability, like you set an all-time record, and you're just very calm about it. You're not taking credit for it. You're pushing it off to your teammates that, the other 10 are out there. Where did that humble, always looking to give credit elsewhere, where did that come from?
I mean, I think it's my faith, and then one of my favorite quotes. I got it from Coach Chris when he offered me. It's you haven't arrived, and the best ones never do. Just that constant pursuit of getting better. Whether I've accomplished things or not, it's about the process, it's about continuing to get better, and it's about the relationships you build within this game.
Thank you.
Corey?
Hey, over the last 6 weeks, you guys have put up a lot more points. I think at least 24 points in about 5 of them. But the one game that you didn't was Jacksonville when they held you to 3. How much does that one stand out to you, and how much do you look forward to trying to do better against them to finish the year?
Yeah, I mean, I think that regardless how the first game went, it's a divisional game, which means a lot. We know how much this means to our fans and this organization. So, it's definitely one that we'll be ready to go on, and I'm excited to get going on the game plan and go to Jacksonville and play the game, and hopefully come out with a win and put up a lot of points.
Jim, go ahead.
Jim, I know you wore your girlfriend's jersey yesterday. Did she play, and how'd that game end up going?
She played, yeah. She played a game in Dallas. She's in the PWHL, and she actually scored a goal yesterday, which was awesome. She put them up 3-2, and they dropped it 4-3 on a kind of a heartbreaker. But they have a nice road stretch here, and I'll be able to catch some of their games. So I'm looking forward to that.
I saw she responded to, I guess the team tweet about you wearing that jersey in. What would she tell you when she saw? Did she know you were going to wear her jersey, and what'd she think about it?
Yeah, I knew I was going to wear her jersey, and I told her about it, but she was excited. I think that it's a really cool opportunity. Not a lot of times when you get to do something like that as a couple. So it's pretty cool to be able to support her and her team.
Okay, thanks, Jim. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate it.
All right, appreciate it, Said. We're going to get started here with Jim White.
Okay, Ted, good morning. I was just curious what kind of film studies like today, or I don't know if you've even reviewed yet, but as you look back to yesterday, what'd you like? What maybe didn't go so well?
Yeah, I think, just looking at the film, and I kind of felt this after the game yesterday, felt like, as a team, we played pretty solid in the first half, and then in the second half, just a series of mistakes and different things like that that I think ultimately cost us the game in the second half.
And obviously you played football for a long time, heading into a finale where things are going to look different the following year. What kind of goes through your mind? What's the locker room feeling like as things are going to be different next year?
Yeah, I think we're just focused on this last game ahead of us, trying to go out there and finish up the season the right way, and win the game. And when the off season comes, it comes.
Hey, Cedric, Corey Curtis here. This is your first time playing. I think you've played 16 of 17 games to this point. You play one of the most violent positions on the field. How have you held up physically, and what is recovery like for you at this point?
Yeah, definitely. Kind of have a weekly schedule that you kind of go by throughout the year to kind of keep yourself healthy and ready to go. Just doing different, recovery things in the training room or in the weight room, and different things like that. Just trying to find ways to keep my legs under me and different things like that. So I think I've, found like a schedule or a weekly ritual that I'm, comfortable with and has worked for me this season.
And with Jacksonville this week, watching them kind of evolve this season, they look like one of the more physical teams in the league. Is it a different kind of game you've got to prepare for this week?
Yeah, I mean, it's a divisional matchup. I think those games are always going to be physical. Jacksonville has been a very successful team this year, playing a good brand of football. So we're definitely going to have to come prepared and play physical if we want to have a chance to win.
They said when we talked yesterday, you talked about talking to the young DBs about kind of what unfolded for them in a difficult game and everything. Have you had those conversations? If not, when will you have them? And how's it received by those guys? Where do you go from here?
I think that's just conversations that we'll have throughout the week as a defense as a whole, and just go over kind of what happened in the game.
What kind of effect do you expect that has and how much better can things get for young guys who are so inexperienced over the course of a week when a team like Jacksonville is looking at what happened to them and trying obviously to exploit it?
Yeah, I think, every week we just come in and we try to prepare our best for the team that we have at hand. And that's what we're going to do this week. We're going to try to get everybody as prepared as possible so we can go out there and put a good product on the field and be competitive.
Said, I think you sit at 156 for the tackle total. The record of, I think, 164. Azeez Al-Shire set it in 2023. Do you think about that at all leading up to the game? Obviously not during the game, but leading up to it. And what would you, how excited would you be to be able to set the franchise record for tackles in only your second season, your first full-time season?
Yeah, I definitely would be lying to you if I didn't think, about that at all. But at the same time, I think, I just got to be me. I don't have to be extra. I don't have to do too much or anything like that, trying to chase a record or anything. I just feel like if I just be myself, I'll keep being successful. And obviously breaking a record like that would definitely be huge for me personally. So, definitely hoping I'm able to get it this next game, but I'm not, going out here chasing or nothing like that. I'm going to play the same brand of football I've been playing all year.
Terry?
Cedric, one of the things I know you said you wanted to work on at the start of the year was your improvement in covering passes and things like that, because you'd always been kind of a downhill run stopper. How do you feel like you've done in working on your pass skills, and what do you feel like are the next steps for you in your game to continue to ascend?
Yeah, I definitely feel like that's something that I've, developed and gotten better at throughout the season. I still believe I have a lot to clean up in that department and to get better at. Some of the things that I want to get better at going into the off season, I just getting better at anticipating, different routes and seeing different things a little bit quicker. That's kind of like one of the biggest things that I want to get better at pertaining to the pass game.
John?
Hey, Cedric, I just want to follow up on Teron's question about the record. I wonder, as you look back, your first year, injuries impacted your first year so much. And then even in training camp, towards late in training camp this year, you were in competition for a starting job. So what, in light of that, how much would it mean, to set a record, considering you've clearly made some huge strides this season from where you've come recently?
Yeah, I definitely would be huge. I think you just kind of highlighted the journey that I've had to kind of get to this point. Going through what I went through last year with the injury, being in a competition, position battle throughout the training camp, and to be able to kind of be where I'm at, today after, the season that I've been having, definitely feels, pretty good and pretty inspiring, what I've been able to accomplish.
Okay, I think that does it. Appreciate your time, Cedric.
Thanks a lot, Sid.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Sid.